Cheerio. So I have a good one for you. Oh, let me first. The boy got me this shirt. You ready? Shaquille oatmeal. It's so terribly stupid. But when your child gets you something, you say, I love it. And I do love oatmeal. And Shaquille's pretty fun. Okay. I don't know when you're watching this, but today is the day after Halloween. My mother was born on Halloween. I had 2 trick-or-treaters last night. 1, 2. And I keep a little box of snacks and a cooler of Gatorade for my delivery drivers. And it even has a nice little sign, drivers, please help yourself. The kids took from the snacks, and they each took a Gatorade, which I thought was awesome. But they didn't even ring the doorbell. They walked up, saw the snack box. They took all of the beef jerky, every single last beef jerky. Didn't take any of the granola bars. Okay, this one's a good one. Have you ever been out in public, out in the world, somewhere other than your home, and you need to go pee-pee? Now, if you play golf, the answer is 100% yes. And some of my friends are like, there's a bathroom on the 5th hole or the 8th hole. And I'm like, okay, I'm on the 6th hole and I have to go potty. So I have no issue. No, I would never just go out in public. I make myself decent, or protected. Shoot, I work outside. I'm a mailman. Tell me I don't know how to go to the bathroom in public properly. I'm a mailman, and this person I'm going to talk about was a judge. The person who wears the big black cape and sits up there and pounds the hammer and you're going to jail, or have a nice day. The judge. Judge Christine Olsen out of Yavapai County. If you watch me, you know I really like counties. If you want to tell me what county you live in, please do. And I may be able to find a crime from that county. So I did look this up. I live just outside of Washington, D.C., about 6 miles. If I were to leave my home and drive to Yavapai County, it would be a one day, 9-hour drive. So for those of you in Rio Linda, that's 33 hours. And tell me if you get that pun. You will be traveling from Virginia to Tennessee, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and then you will end up in Arizona. Now, if you choose to make that 1 day, 9-hour drive and not stop anywhere, or at least stop for food, you will have to stop and go pee-pee. I assume that's a loud word on YouTube. Okay, so if you want to take 1 hour, 1 day, 10-hour trip, it's a little different area. 1 day, 10 hours. Is that what I said? Okay, so you're going to leave Virginia. And let me think about it. I don't think you pass through D.C. at all. I mean, you can, but there's a way to go from Virginia directly to Maryland. And then it says Ohio. But I used to drive to Ohio all the time, and I think you do have to go through Pennsylvania. So maybe I missed that. Indiana, Illinois. If you go to Illinois, swing through Cook County. They let anyone vote. Cook County, vote early, vote often. Missouri. I was born in Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri, where the arch is. And I once, with 2 friends, drove from D.C. to Los Angeles. It took us 52 hours, maybe 54 hours. And we brought food with us. The only time we stopped was to go pee-pee. Well, we were in a pickup truck that had a cab on the back of it. And one time I didn't want to ask to stop. And so I just stuck my butt out of the back of the pickup truck, with the cab on it. And meanwhile, my buddy's directly opposite. So he has his back, that Ocean Gate thing that went down, submersible. I'm sitting in the back, or my buddy is, same place Rush always sat. And I start to go. And he's just talking to me and probably saying, you're an idiot. I can't believe you're doing this. And all of a sudden, he kind of starts wiping his face. And then he realized what I was expelling out of my body because of the wind was just flying back and hitting him in the face. Funny story. I'm glad I didn't even think about that as I was making notes. Okay, and if you choose to walk, it'll take you 34 days. And if you walk, you'll have no problem finding a restroom. If you walk, you will not be able to carry all your food with you. So you're going to have to stop somewhere and eat. I'm sure there's a Buc-ee's somewhere. You know, Buc-ee's gas station. Everybody talks about Buc-ee's. I went to one. You know, a few years ago, we rented an RV. Big mistake. And I grew up traveling the country in an RV. But it's totally different when you're the kid and you don't have to do anything. This time, I was the mom and I had to do everything. We stopped at a Buc-ee's. You know, the family, let's go to Buc-ee's. We went. I walked in about 5 feet and I just turned around and left. There were 5,000 people in there. It was horrendous. It frightened me. I love a Wawa. Okay, I have rambled. So, former Judge Christine Olsen had gone out drinking in Yavapai County, Arizona. At this point, she was a judge. Her husband was with her. Christine does have a little case of Alba arms. From the body cam, and it was a little dark, her husband looked to be decent. Well, as someone saw her, she was not only urinating in public, she was defecating. She was doing number 2, you know, poo-poo in public. That's how ripped this woman was. When I say she was doing it in public, she wasn't doing it on the side of a building or anything. She was on a park bench. And I think the poo-poo, you know, a park bench has a flat side and then the railing and then the back side. A lot of them do. Some of them have railings all the way. I believe she was sitting on this park bench and the poo-poo was coming out where it's supposed to come out. And then she was peeing from the front. Well, some good strangers happened to see. At this point, she was a judge. They did not know this. They saw this and they called police. Police showed up while she's still sitting. So I guess she was drip drying. And the cop asked, "What are you doing?" Her husband's not involved at this point at all. But she talks and then she tells the cop, "I'm Judge Christine Olsen." What? If you're out in public peeing, much less poo-pooing, the last thing you want to do is, hey, I'm an authority. You know, I'm an official of the law. You've probably been in my courtroom. You wouldn't be out there doing it. So as she's speaking to the cop and telling him how important she is, her husband walks up. And he's just as ripped, but he's not as ripped. Well, I just said he's just as ripped. He's ripped. He's not as ripped as she is. What are you doing? You can't mess with her. And the cop tells him, he's like, go away, go stand back there. And he gives him an object. You know, go stand by that pole. Leave me alone. Stay out of this. You're obstructing. And obstruction's really a vague term. But the husband's, no, I'm not, what are you doing? So they tell him, if you don't go over there, you're going to be arrested. And arrested for obstruction. And the husband just keeps running his mouth. What are you going to do? You're going to fight these guys? Idiot. So they turning him around, putting handcuffs on him, and he starts resisting. And the cop's like, loosen your arm up, dude. And you're going to jail anyway, you moron. What is still at this point Judge Christine Olsen's husband do? He's a man, all tough. Goodness. Hey, I'm going to see if you guys have never seen Floyd. That's Floyd. Isn't he cool? He's my coolest cat. He was the one, Lucy and I were throwing the ball last night. We have a glow-in-the-dark ball. And he would run and mess with her. And she'd chase him, and he'd go 8 feet up the tree and just hang on to the tree. It was really cool. I'd like to have fingernails like that. Although they're not fingernails. The claws of a cat, it's this. It's your first link. So, no declawing. My vet had a sign, big sign. It says, we do not declaw, and he explains why. So he's still resisting the cops. So he gets arrested for that and gets another charge. The next scene, for the most part, is the police officer handing his, oh, it's an iPad now, the ticket thing, and telling her where to sign. And he has to say, you can't see, but he has to say, no, on the screen. Who knows where the heck she's trying to sign if he has to tell her on the screen. So she signs. She doesn't have to go to jail. They let her off. In Virginia, you're getting a drunk in public, and they're taking you to jail, and you have to stay in jail until you blow a 000 on the thing. And yes, I do know that personally. Decades ago, but I do know. What's she going to do then? I don't see the police officers making sure she gets into an Uber. She obviously cannot drive. If that woman leaves that scene and gets injured, that's the police officer's fault at that point. Okay, so I don't know how she gets home, but she does. And what does she do the very next morning? She resigns. She is now ex-judge Christine Olsen. And she'd only been a judge for 1 or 2 years. She had her own law firm. So she done messed up. Okay, if you want to tell me about your drunken publics, please do so. Goodness. But don't forget, tell me what county you live in, and I'll see if there's a good crime from that county. I was just in Yavapai County, North Carolina, and my girlfriend, she lives on a big, big farm. The man on the farm across the street and down a little bit had been, 15 years ago, was arrested for murder and was acquitted. So she was, her first or second night there, she got scared and she called the police. And the 911 operator gets my friend's address, and she says, don't you live across the street from that old Watkins farm? Or whatever the man's name is. And my friend's like, yes. And she said, okay, I'll make sure somebody comes out. So the next day my friend asked, why would the 911 operator, act like that or say that? And the neighbors tell her. So I need to look that up and see and get some history and tell you about the Yavapai County man. Okay, if you're still watching right now, I'm shocked. I'm not a princess, so the royal family will not be taking me of my titles any day soon. If you want to hook me up, hit like, hit subscribe. If you want to send me a coffee, send me a coffee. Of course, I put no ads in this. I'm annoyed with YouTube. God bless you. God bless America. Toodaloo.